and welcome to episode 2 of GTRU. First, we want to say we're really sorry about our last episode. We were going to post it last Thursday, but we weren't capable because we had technical difficulties. But we are going to stay close to trying to do it every Thursday. Let's get started on what we were talking about today.
Okay, so we got a few stories for you today. We have some movie news, we got some technology news, comics as well, and also we have music news, of course. And here we go. We're going to start off with the Scorched Trials.
On to our first topic, which is movies. The movie that we're going to be talking about today is The Maze Runner's Scorched Trial. First, let me tell you about the rating I gave it. I gave it a 10 out of 10, but there's pros and cons between why I gave it this rating. One of the pros that I gave it is that it was very action-packed. Was not expecting it to be this action-packed and having a lot of adventure, like on the edge of your seat type of deal. Another is that the Infected looked amazing. The features on it, the CGI looked beautiful on it. But there was some cons. One being that it didn't really follow the storyline from the very beginning. I was a little bit lost. I was like, I don't remember this happening. And the second is that the twist, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a twist in the movie, and it was kind of sensed throughout the entire movie. Let's hear your input on it.
Yes, the Scorched Trials, I thought was amazing. It definitely was a lot better than the first one. A lot more action-packed than the first one as well. Like you said, it didn't follow the book too well in the beginning, but like honestly, it had a very good take on it. Like the action was great, the zombies was great, the whole human conflict was great. I also like there were some really good actors in it. Mm-hmm. You had the guy who played Gus, Breaking Bad.
Yes,
he was a very good addition to the storyline. And then you had the guy who played Littlefinger. He was the villain of the whole thing. He was running the whole wicked camp. And then, yeah, like you said, there was a twist, and the twist, it kind of like, in the middle of the story, you see it, you see where it's leading to, and you're like, oh, I know how this is going to go. Mm-hmm. Basically, the Scorched Trials, as for a brief review of it, it starts off right up with the Maze Runner. They bring him to a camp, they tell them that they're going to go to a safe place, but then Thomas, the main character, finds out that these guys aren't who they say they are, and they're doing something very weird. And he finds out they're draining the people that aren't infected of their fluids, and basically it's killing them. So they take off, and then they find out what's really out there. So with the infected running around, there's gangs running around, and they have to face all of that. It has some really nice sequences to it with the action. I particularly enjoyed the thunderstorm. That was really cool. I liked.
Oh, yes, really nice effect.
Yes, and then also, what else? The skyscraper scene when they're climbing it. That was, oh my god, that was really suspenseful. The ending was really good, and that's another reason why I gave it a 10 out of 10. It sets up perfectly for the last one of this series. As you know, the Maze Runner series runs off of 5, so it goes Maze Runner, Scorched Trial, and there's a third one. What's the third one called?
Death Cure.
Death Cure, yes. And then they also have 2 others, and they're prequels to it. Now, the second part of that, it hasn't even come out yet in book, and it's supposed to be out next year. But I think they are going to make those as well. But the third one is scheduled to be released, I believe, in February of 2017. So, can't wait for the next one. And now moving on to the Z Nation review. All right, now Z Nation. Z Nation, we talked about it last week, but again, technical difficulties. Z Nation is about a show where a group of survivors are trying to get this man who has the antibodies to the Z virus to California, where they can create a cure from his blood. But they run into all these problems. And then the guy who has the virus in him, Murphy, is changing into something else. He's able to control the zombies, and he has powers. He can even do telekinetic things. It's amazing. Season 2 just started, and I'll do a brief overview of the first episode. First episode was 2 weeks ago, and basically I gave that episode about a 9 out of 10. It introduced the season, like the whole concept, and also wrapped up loose ends from the first season. Now, the first season ended when Murphy ran because he found out that the guy that they were going to was actually the guy who made the virus. So he was like, the government screwed him over, and he took off, and it caused all these bombs to go off because they were at a facility, and then the facility detected him as a zombie because he has the blood in him, and it launched. And then the first episode wrapped it all up. The survivors were able to escape the blast, and basically throughout the first episode they had to go find Murphy. And then it was really good. Set up the characterization especially for Murphy, he's changed as a character. He was just some regular convict in the first season. Now he's actually becoming more of an anti-hero, more villainous. Still funny. The show has a lot of dark comedy to it. If you like Shaun of the Dead, you'll definitely like this type of show. Now for the second episode, which I'm going to talk about, I loved it. I gave it a 10 out of 10 because it was very action-packed. Now, because Murphy escaped, Citizen Z, he worked for the NSA, and because the group lost him, he set out a worldwide bounty on Murphy. So anyone who gets Murphy now will be vaccinated first. So you have everyone coming to get Murphy in this second episode. And it was amazing because you had the main group fighting all these bounty hunters, and for the whole hour, it's just nothing but action. And then Murphy was just running around trying to escape everyone. There was really 3 nice scenes I loved about the episode. The one was when Doc and 10K were flanking the sniper. It was a very good fight scene between Doc and him because Doc was able to flank him, but then he almost died and was able to stab him at the very end. And the way that was all filmed was amazing. And then the second fight scene I liked was between Warren, the main character, and this machine gunner. And that one was filmed nicely too because she was able to time when he was reloading and everything. And it looked very realistic to me. And even at the end, the machine gunner was able to outwit her, but her new companion Vasquez, a new bounty hunter, saved her. And the final scene I really enjoyed was the death scene. Now, throughout the whole episode, you kind of get the feeling that someone's going to die with the near deaths of 10K, Doc, and Warren, and that's what happened. The final scene I really liked was the death of Mac, where he was fighting all disease at the very end in the stairwell. And then his girlfriend, Addie, was trying to save him, but she was too late, and then she put him out of his misery as they hate him, which was very sad. At the end of the episode, they were able to get Murphy, which was very great after all the crap they went through. So, any questions, Shane, about the show? Anything you want to talk about? I gave it this rating.
The rating from what you've told me about the show, honestly, I'm right with you with 10 out of 10. From what I've heard about it, it sounds like a really good show. I'm very excited to start watching it, but I still have to work my list. I have a very long list of shows to watch, but this is on it.
So, and I'm now on to Fear the Walking Dead.
So, Jake, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What are you afraid of?
I used to be afraid of the dark, but as of now, I'd say if I were to encounter a real ghost, I would probably freak out.
Really?
Yes.
All right. Well, that brings us on to our next topic, which is the Fear of the Walking Dead, something to be really afraid of. The Fear of the Walking Dead's new episode, Episode 4, just came out this Sunday. Please tell me a little bit about it, of what happened, and your rating behind it.
For Episode 4, well, actually, let me tell you a little bit about Episode 3 first, because we were unable to talk about it due to technical difficulties. Episode 3, a brief overview. Basically, the main characters were able to come back together after they were scattered in Episode 2, and it was a lot more action-packed because they actually encounter one of the infected. And Episode 3 actually really focuses on characterization for everyone, because now you have Travis, who thinks they're all going to get saved, and he's being pretty much a wuss. And then you also have Madison, who is really starting to become a hardened survivor, and she's starting to realize things aren't as what they seem. And then her son Nick, he's a good addition, but he's so into drugs that it's really
big drug use.
Yeah, putting him back. And Alicia, she's dealing with it. That's about it. But for that episode, I gave like a 9. But for this week, it kind of didn't go anywhere. So for this episode, I gave like a 7 out of a 10 because. Well, for one, I liked the fact that they're now like in a quarantine zone. The military has quarantined them in their own neighborhood. They can't go into the city, and that was pretty neat. But the episode doesn't really go anywhere. They're kind of just stuck doing the same thing. And it also left a lot of unanswered questions, which a show does have, but it was very confusing. At the very end of the episode, you had the military taking away both Griselda, which is Daniel's wife, the Salazars, and then they took away Nick, and they didn't really hint as to why. And it looks like next week they're going to have to get them back somehow. But another interesting thing was how Chris was doing his camera thing, and he was able to see that
across the house too.
Yeah, to the building. It was like a group of people. That was pretty cool. But like I said, the episode didn't really go anywhere, and it wasn't, everyone's established. Travis still thinks they're going to be saved. He's running around. He's like jogging in the first.
Yeah, it's like his normal life.
Yeah, and then Madison's like, "What are you doing?" I say, "I like Madison. She has a good head about her, so I really think she's going to become a great survivor."
I definitely agree with you.
What do you think of Fear the Walking Dead so far?
So far, actually, I do have to say something about this, about what you said about Nick, about why they took him away. I think I figured out why they took him away. Being that the doctor, she went over and said, "Oh, your heart is elevated, it's beating very fast." I think that she knew that he was using drugs and that either he was turning into she didn't know that he was using drugs, but she thought, "Oh my God, this kid is sick and he is going to turn into a walker."
Yeah, that's a good idea. Misconception. You never know. And Griselda, too, they took her.
Because she got hurt, and they don't know if it's a bite or whatever.
Yeah, they're supposed to go to some, I believe, medical facility. So we'll see how that turns out. And then, I think, what's her face? Travis's ex-wife is with him. Liza, she left.
Yeah, she's the nurse that they want to use.
But, like I said, nothing too big happened this week on The Walking Dead. So we gave it a 7 out of 10. And only 2 episodes left, so we'll see what happens the coming weeks. All right, and now on to new show this fall. Well, new season, Gotham. All right, so now Gotham. Let me tell you, I'm a big Batman fan, and Gotham is a great show. For those who haven't heard or seen of Gotham, it's basically a prequel to Batman. It explains how a lot of the villains and characters become who they are in the Batman universe. But what's awesome about this show is that it's also its own take, which I noticed, because some of the characters that are supposed to be in Batman actually die. Like, spoiler alert, at the very end of the season, Salvatore Maroni dies, and in the Batman comics, he's actually a villain, and if he's dead, he's obviously not going to be. So it's its own take. So they kind of it's like a different universe, and I like it. It's very neat how they set it up, and I like finding out which character is which. They kind of leave it as a mystery, like, who is this? And then they reveal it, like, oh my God, it's this guy. But for season 1, for the most part, it was good, but they always had like a case a week, and it got tiring. So I gave this episode a 9 out of 10, and they changed the whole aspect of that. So now it's more serialized. It's not revolving around case a week. It's gonna revolve on an idea, and it's going to continue on for episodes. First episode was actually very dark, considering how it is. Like, it's darker than usual. First episode basically has Gordon. He becomes fired from GCPD. And the Commissioner Loeb, he's corrupt, doesn't like him. That's why he gets fired. But Gordon ends up doing something very bad to get his job back, because he's a cop. He goes to the Penguin to see if he can get his job back. The Penguin makes him collect a debt from another gangster, and Gordon ends up killing him, which was a dark take, because Gordon, he's not a cop. He killed him for that cop's badge, so it's murder. But because the Penguin runs the entire mafia now in Gotham, it's not going to be pursued, and he put Gordon back. And the Penguin is an amazing character.
I'm glad they picked that actor.
He is amazing. He's so dark and sinister, very relentless. He portrays the perfect Penguin. He had Burgess Meredith, he had Danny DeVito. They were great, but nothing compares to this guy. And then Zaz. I love Zaz. Zaz is very ruthless in this episode. Other characters that I enjoyed, and the Joker. The Joker was introduced very briefly in season 1. Gordon arrested him for the murder of his mother, and then you find out at the end of the episode the Joker, he does his signature laugh. It's very nice. And then this episode, he ends up breaking out with Gordon's ex-girlfriend, Barbara. I won't spoil too much about that, but we'll get more into it. But as of now, the season premiere was great. It also, Bruce and Alfred are just trying to figure out what that cave is inside the manor. Now, I don't know if it is the Batcave, but his dad wanted Bruce to find it, and we're going to find out as the episodes go on. I'm very excited for the rest of the season. You have any questions about Gotham, Shane?
Honestly, I don't have any questions, being that I have not started season 2, and I'm still trying to finish season 1. Yes. I know that that's a big problem, but I'm actually liking how you said that the next season 2, has changed instead of it no longer being cases, which I was actually getting a little tired of. That's not the reason as to why I stopped.
Exactly. Everyone was. And Fox was able to notice that, and thank God they did that.
Got rid of that.
Because otherwise, I was afraid it was going to be canceled. I love the show. Very good.
But yeah, I'm glad that it changed for where it was.
And the way it's looking, we'll discuss. I'll discuss this a little bit for now. I feel like in this show, the Joker is more of an idea than just one man. I feel like the guy who plays him is going to start out with the idea of a Joker, but that idea is going to live on in other men. I can't explain it. There was like just the way he acts, I have a feeling that he's gonna get stopped, but at the same time, I feel like the Joker will live on through his legacy, and I'm hoping I'm right. But also, some new additions as well, not just the Penguin, Joker. Those were all returning characters, but there are some new villains as well. You have the Tigress. Tigress is a very good addition to the Batman universe. She was a supervillain, and she's not very well known, but she's like a minor. But her and her brother Theo have big plans for Gotham, and I'm very excited to see. They appear to be like the main villains for now, but we're gonna see where that goes. That's all for Gotham. I'll tell you more about episode 2 next week. And now moving on to The Walking Dead.
Jake, let me ask you a question. Another one. What was the last comic book you read?
The last comic book I read was the New Walking Dead one, which is what we're going to talk about, actually. The Walking Dead comic is pretty good. It came out a few weeks ago. Wasn't able to review it last week, and I'm going to review it this week. So, basically, in the comics, they're at a very different level than they are in the show. And in the comics now, Rick has created a stable life in his community of Alexandria, and they're sharing with other communities as well, and it's great. He's become a great leader. He just beat Negan in the war, and now they come across a new group, and this group is very different. They're called the Whisperers, and they actually dress themselves, and they put zombie faces on them, and they blend in with them. The zombies don't bother them, and they actually live like a wild tribe. It's crazy, but something happens, and they go over Rick goes over their boundaries, like their territory, and the leader ends up killing a bunch of Rick's friends and beheading them and putting them on a spear. That's where you had Ezekiel. He's gone. You had Rosita, which was Abraham's girlfriend. You had Olivia, and you had some other minor Alexandrians, and that really took a toll on Rick. Now, I gave the comic a 9.5 out of 10, mostly because of Rick. Now, Rick is portrayed as this badass leader. He's very strong-willed, but this comic really shows that he's human, and in this, he's struggling with what he's going to do with this new group of people. Everyone's looking to him like, what? We gotta strike back, but he doesn't know what to do. He's kind of at this point where he's gotten more people killed, and he can't take it anymore. And the comic really shows his human nature, how he's not invincible, how he's just a man. And I thought they really portrayed that very well. And like I said, he's one of the longest surviving members of the group in the comics. There's only 3 original members from the very first issues, and that would only be Rick, Carl, and Andrew. That's it. Everyone else is dead, or they came in later in the series. So that's it for the comic. It ended with Rick finally deciding what to do, and he's about to make a speech to the community, and it ended. So we'll find out, and I'll let you know how that goes. The comic will be out next month, and that's what we got for The Walking Dead. Now moving on to the new Kingdom Hearts. Hey, what's that you're playing?
It's the Game Converter game, the Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories.
Did you hear about the new remastered?
The new remastered.
Yes.
What's this?
They're making a remastered game of Kingdom Hearts, some of the games, and it's going to be basically the final chapter before the third one, which is so anticipated. I can't wait. It's been along for the second one. According to Polygon.com, it's going to be 3 editions in 1 disc. So and it's going to have Drop Dream Distance, which is basically bridges the gap between the second and the third one. So basically, in Drop Dream Distance, Sora and Riku are tasked by Master Yensid to go to dream worlds that were in a state of sleep from the first one and unlock them. And once they do that, they'll become fully wielded Keyblade Masters. At the other game, you come across a young Master Xehanort. And what he does is that he's traveling through time, and he's actually taking his parts of himself, such as Ansem, the villain from the first one, and Xemnas. And he's trying to take all the pieces, and he's also taking the organization, because it's revealed that they're actually parts of their vessels for Xanor's heart the whole time, and he's going to put them in together, and Xanor will be resurrected. And throughout the game, you know, and then at the end of the game, it actually happens. But the cool thing is that it's remastered from the 3DS to PS4.
It's going to be beautiful, huh?
It is. It's going to be great. You can play as Sora, and you get to play as Riku. You can finally play as Riku. I mean, you can play as Riku in Chain of Memories, but that's Game Boy. You can actually play him like on the console. It's pretty awesome. The other part is Kingdom X back cover.
Oh, I actually read about this, about what it's going to have. It's actually one of the new iOS games for iPhones. It looks absolutely amazing. I honestly saw it at E3 this year, and it basically talks about how you can play as a wielder, as a Keyblade wielder, and you have to join these factions to basically fight for light. Isn't that about the same?
Just about. It actually takes place before Birth by Sleep, before the Keyblade Wars. So it's basically the very first game. And if you play it, I haven't played it yet myself, but I intend to when I get 2.8. But basically, it's the very first one, and somehow it's going to connect to the third one. Almost every game connects to the third one, honestly. In some shape or form, every game in the series connects to the third one.
Yes.
So that's going to be interesting. And then the other edition is the Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, which is a new edition as well. And this is actually Aqua's story after Birth by Sleep, so it explains her travels in the Dark Realm when she sacrificed herself to save Terra from Master Xanor's control. And that's going to be exciting too.
That is going to be very exciting.
I really can't wait.
Well,
and
guys,
it's supposed to come out in 2016, I believe?
2016 for PS4.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I really wish the third one came out already. But
2017.
But yeah, for Kingdom Hearts 3, there's not too much big news. Like, it was announced at E3. There's going to be there's a few worlds announced. Tangled is a world, and Baymax's world from Big Hero 6.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all about they announced.
Oh, don't forget Hercules' world too.
Yes, it's going to be like when Hercules is a baby, though.
Yes.
So that's going to be pretty cool. And another thing, too, about the new Kingdom Hearts, if you didn't know, is according to IGN, which they had a whole E3 in that presentation, basically, they said that, you know how, like, if you play the first two, you go into a section of the game, and you basically, it blacks out, and it goes to the next part, and this one's not going to have that. It's going to be, like, a whole open world. So basically, when you walk somewhere, you're not going to have to cutscene next world. You're just going to keep going and going, and that's really cool.
But isn't there a little problem for that? As to the ones for PlayStation 2, you could just get away from the enemy and go to the next road.
If you were in a really bad state, those actually saved you because it got you to a safer spot. But now the enemies could probably follow you through, so it's going to be a little bit harder. But the whole thing is great, and also the Keyblade is up. You get new powers with your Keyblade. You can make them into certain weapons now.
Oh, they can do like a whole different thing.
Yes.
Each Keyblade.
Each Keyblade has its own ability now, and it's really awesome. I can't wait. And like I said, I can't wait. Hopefully, God, since 2.8 is coming next year, it makes me think it's not going to be out for another till 2017. I shudder to think, but
It's what we're going to have to wait.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated. Now moving on to our tech category, we have for you today is iOS 9.
Hey man, just came back. What are you up to?
Checking out the new iOS 9.
iOS 9?
Yep, iOS 9 just came out September 16th, and finally I was able to play around with it, and there's some really cool features in it now. Now, for those of you who don't have iOS 9 or you're just starting to use it now, we'll talk to you a little bit about it. iOS 9 now has this really cool thing. It's called an apps. It's like an app switcher, and basically you can switch apps so smoothly now. And basically with the new taskbar, when you double tap the button here, you know how it brings up the maps that you're using. It has it in like a toolbar type thing, and then you can actually, if you have a thing here, you can actually, because in iOS 8 and the earlier ones, you couldn't really do that. You had to basically wipe over to get to this, but this one, that it shows like a brief one, and if you can simply tap it, like see this app right there, look at that,
brings it right to
it.
Nice.
Isn't that awesome? You can do that for the app switcher. There's also another one, it's on here. You can use your mail now. iOS 9 is very smart now. Now it integrates a lot of your mail into your contacts. So if you email a lot of people that are on your phone that as your contacts, it'll integrate them a lot easier once you get the new iOS. There's actually easier ways to navigate your photos now. Now, instead of swiping to the right, like always, you can simply just, there you go. It's right. You can look at any photo. Now, and also, which is also cool, if you notice when you text people, you have the thumbnail of their picture right next to the message.
It's like the little Facebook now.
Yeah, it's
Very
so
cool.
awesome. It's like Messenger. I'm not a big fan, but you know.
Yeah, it does its job.
Yeah, I don't really get updates. That's why from it. Notifications, it views it by most recent, which is pretty cool. Siri is has more suggestions. So say you want to search for an app. Say you have a lot of apps and you want to use the spotlight, you know, where you can basically scroll down. It gives you more suggestions now, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Siri actually suggests it goes by the topmost apps that you've been using. Another cool thing too is if you have a song favorited or if you like is your favorite song, if you plug your earbuds in, it's supposed to actually play the song as soon as you put your earbud in.
No way.
Yes, if you heart a song and you know how they have the hearts now next to in the music song, you can basically when you plug it in, it'll play that song that you hearted.
Do I have to press anything for it to just start, or will it just happen?
According to applemac.com, it's supposed to actually as soon as you put in the contact.
Oh wow, that's really nice.
It's awesome. Another one, let's see. There's an iCloud Drive app, which is pretty cool. So now you can actually see what's saved in your drive. You weren't able to do that from your phone, which is cool. You don't have to go on Apple's site. You can do it right from your phone. There's some features also only for the iPad, which is cool. iPad only, you can actually use 2 apps at once. That's freaking awesome,
Oh,
isn't
like a double screen.
Yes, but it's only with certain iPads. Like the older ones won't be able to do that, but if you have like an iPad Pro, iPad Air 2, or an iPad 4 Mini.
Ooh, minis.
All of those is compatible with all these features. You can reach your contacts from Spotlight. It's pretty easy. You can actually access, if you have Apple Pay, you can access your wallet from your lock screen. Your map is actually smarter too, integrates a lot easier. Now, instead of searching for, say, you're looking for something to eat, and it actually narrows it down even better. So say you're looking for like a bakery, you don't have to type in bakery, you just type in food and it does it for you from the map. So, you know, let's go to a bakery, you know, you just type in food and it does it for you, it brings it up. You don't have to type in bakery, which is pretty cool. What's another one? Another cool feature which I actually use, low power mode. It squeezes about extra battery life, almost up to an hour. So basically when it goes 20%, now it gives you the option, would you like to put it in low power mode? In low power mode, it stops it from doing downloads, it stops you from doing certain things, but you're able to use your apps, you know, you're able to use it like a normal phone. And it even notifies you again at 10%, would you like to do it? And another cool thing too, I noticed last night when I was charging, after you reach 80%, it turns off that low power mode automatically.
You know what I actually saw on my phone yesterday when going through the settings? I actually saw a little app there that says that now for battery. And you can actually turn it on automatically if you really felt like it.
Yeah.
If you were off like on a jump picture.
Yeah, exactly. You don't do it for 20%. You can have it on all the time, but like you won't get your apps updated. But I only do it like if my battery's dying. And it probably, that's part of what they were said. They said iOS 9 was going to allow you to have more battery life on it, which is pretty cool. You can now they have a thing where you can organize your selfies because selfies are so big nowadays. There's a new font. If you notice when you get iOS 9, Apple integrates the new sophisticated San Francisco font in it, which is pretty awesome. There's a new Shift key on the keyboard, which makes things a lot easier when you type. Actually, speaking with apps, how you can switch back. There's a new thing where you can actually go back to your previous app from the app. If I open up, say, Facebook, and I get a message from a friend.
Oh, the top left.
If you go to the top left, they said, after you go back to messages, like, would I go back to Facebook, like, go back to Twitter, but depending on what you're doing, it basically brings it right back, which is really awesome.
Very handy.
It is, because now you don't have to, you know, double click, go back to the app, wait for it to load, it just goes right back. Actually, in notes now, you can share content. People can actually comment in your notes. Like, if you have a question or you're studying something, they can actually do it if you have it shared. It's pretty cool. Siri is very good with, is now your new personal DJ. You can ask Siri to play something from 1986 and they'll pick a song.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that awesome? Like, you can, play my favorite artist. She's a lot more smarter now. Also, another cool thing is your settings. So you can't, what I noticed from settings is that I can't find certain things. Like, I don't remember where they are, what tab. You can search them now. There's a search bar. You can search your own settings. Like, you can type, like, battery, and it'll narrow it down. Like basically, when you're searching for the internet for something.
That's very cool.
It narrows it down. There's a new transit view in Maps. It basically tells you how long you're going to take if you take the subway. And it's really cool. But it only works in certain cities. It works in, like, Baltimore, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, even cities in China, even London, Berlin, Toronto. It's pretty cool. There's a new news app. It makes finding articles a lot easier. Actually, if you have an Apple Watch, Apple Watch tends to give you an achievement if you reach a nice personal goal with your health. It actually integrates with your phone, and it'll pop up on your phone. You achieved this goal. You ran a mile. It sends it to your phone. It's cool.
Very cool.
And then there's also another iPad only. You can actually take chunks of your text and change them. So say if it's like a long sentence, it'll take that and make it one word.
How?
Like, you can highlight. You know how you can, like, highlight word? Like,
select it all.
You can only do it with the iPad, though. So it basically takes what you're saying and makes you sound smarter. It's like, oh, this is a better word for everything. So that way it's one word and not a whole, like, paragraph.
That is very handy.
And another thing, too, this is cool for kids. If you're in class, there's a new picture-in-picture mode. Basically, you're, if you have like an iPad, well, it's an iPad, obviously, but I'll show you how it works. Basically, you have an iPad, and if you're watching a video, you can watch the bottom left while taking your notes. Now that's pretty awesome. And that's like, oh yeah, I'm taking my notes. Just,
don't even know that.
Reading an X-Men comic, watching a Daredevil episode. You know what I mean? That's really about it. Those are the cool features. There's a lot more, but like iOS 9 really, it's not a big step up from 8, but it tweaks it, and it's just the perfect amount. I'm really enjoying it, and for those of you who don't have it, you should get it. Check it out. Now moving on to our music news for the evening.
Okay.
All right, so we got music news. 2 stories, nothing too big. Actually, there's one big highlight I found. Tom Araya from Slayer. Slayer's all over, so there's always news about Slayer. We're actually doing a review. It's really just about their new album, Repentless. He actually stated that only half the album sounded like Slayer. Which is very understandable. And this is coming from blabbermouth.net. He said that it sounded like half Slayer because, again, Jeff Hanneman, their guitarist, wasn't really in it. He died, and this is their first album without him. But there is one song they were able to record with him, which is why he says it's half Slayer. And he says that it's a good album, but like he said, it's just very weird making music without the very influential Jeff Hanneman. He was a very big influence on that band. He wrote a lot of their hits, like Angel of Death, South of Heaven, and whatnot. So that's really about it for them. But the album's doing good. They're actually on the cover of a few magazines. They were the highlight of most of the week after their album came out on September the 11th. Another interesting story, actually, it's basically wrapping up something that happened years ago, was there was a man who was indicated in the killing of the Metallica fan, Morgan Harrington. I don't know if many of you know, but Morgan Harrington was kidnapped after a concert at Metallica. She was kidnapped on October 17th of 2009. Her body was found in January of 2010 on a farm, which is very sad to hear. This is big news because there was a huge manhunt for her killer. And Metallica themselves, after they heard, they went to the families, what can we do for you? So what they actually did was that they made a public announcement, and they actually added, it was already $100,000 to find this guy. Metallica themselves added $50,000 onto that. So whoever found him would get $150,000 to the person who killed Morgan. And they did something else very good. They made a freaking a scholarship in her name.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's very sad. The man, the story. The man indicated as Jesse Leroy Matthew Jr. He was just arrested last week for killing her, and it's been 6 years. I was in ninth grade when I heard about this story. It was very sad, and I was like, oh my god, they finally found him after all this time. And it's just sad to hear this stuff because, you know, it's a sick world out there. But Metallica, they really did it. And then the bass player actually said that he's just very saddened to hear this stuff happens because they're fathers themselves, so they know. And they paid a lot of respect, making that fund, helping the family out, raising the bounty up. Another story, we got, it's actually pretty funny, Slipknot's Corey Taylor and his view on basically politics. He basically said that if Donald Trump becomes president, he's out of this country. He basically said that he's going to either, his first thought is to send Blabbermouth. It's basically that he would like to go to England. That was his first thought, but that England is very expensive, so that's probably not his best bet. So he's now thinking Belize. And Belize, he's thinking about making a hut, buying an island in the Caribbean. He's like, oh, yeah, is that right? He's like, oh, I'll buy an island, $500,000. I wish I had a $500,000, right?
Exactly.
This man knows it all, but it's going to be very interesting to see how that turns out if Trump does become the president. But we'll see how that turns out. Also, if you're interested, Corey Taylor's new book came out. It's his third one. It's actually, in a way, a style of Peter Griffin's Grind Your Gears.
Yes.
Yep. Basically, his outlook on society and humans not having common sense. It came out on July 7th. You should check it out. He had a book tour, too. He solo tour. He had acoustic shows, book signings. So, Corey Taylor's a man. He's doing well for himself. There is another story. Well, for the music, one more story. Nothing too big. By Iron Maiden. About Bruce Dickinson. He stated on Blabbermouth that people said that their first early stuff was considered punky, and he got very mad at that because he hates punk. He says that it's just not that good, and he's very upset that people are saying that. And almost every member of the band is like, what are you talking about? We are a metal band. We never played anything sounded punky, so I don't know what you're talking about. He's basically freaking out. But yet again, you have to remember Bruce Dickinson wasn't on the first album. It was Paul Di'Anno. He was the original singer. But he said after Killers, it was like, it was a good album. It was good after that. He wasn't a big fan of the first album, but he was very, upset that people were saying it's punky. But that's Bruce Dickinson for you, He can be like that. He's a great guy. They're touring next year. New album just came out. Double album. Check it out. Book of Souls. 16th album, I believe. Supposed to be the longest. Over an hour and a half. Fun fact, before we go for the night. Just a little bit, let you know, there's a release date for, if you guys ever play Life is Strange. The final episode is coming out on October the 20th. It was just announced. That is, as of now, the final release date, but the creators said that if need be, that they will push it back, but they are shooting for that release date.
I really hope. I've been waiting for too damn long to play this.
I'm just in the beginning of playing. I just got past episode 1, and it's a very good game from what I've played. But that's all we have for you tonight. We'll see you here next week. Again, sorry about the technical difficulties last week, but we actually have substitution for that. We have this new, I'll let Shane.
Well, the new thing that we're going to be doing is called the Top 10s. It's a sub-talk show. Basically, we're just be showing you guys our top 10 favorite things. Top 10 favorite games, top 10 favorite concerts we ever went to, or even movies. Anything that pertains to what GTRU is, please like down below where these two videos are and check out our new sub-channel. Yes,
first one is our top 10 PS4 games. I did one individually, and so did Shane. So check them out. We did reviews on them. We went over the whole thing. Hope you like it. Again, on this video, comment, like, subscribe, and the same thing with the sub-channel. Comment, like, subscribe. Thank you again for watching. This is GTRU, and we will see you again next week for episode 3.